Hi, witches.
Hey, witches.
How are you guys doing? I know. It's always starting this up.
We're in
Never
the
know.
dark.
Good evening and welcome back. We took off last week because of all the things that we have going on, and we started late tonight because of all of the things going on.
This is life, you
I
guys. You all
mean,
know that.
Yeah.
You probably have your own lives that you're like,
Yeah.
I really would love to be with you tonight, but
there's a lot going on.
There's so many things.
Like in our own lives and in the world, and we're getting ready to come up on a season that makes us very, very busy. But that's one reason why I think that tonight's talk is so time appropriate. Because when we get around a lot of people, I feel that maybe this is not a we, but this is, how about I just speak for me? I feel when I'm around a lot of people, I often find myself going back to these really negative thought patterns about, oh, I wonder if they're thinking bad things of me. I wonder if I'm fitting in here. I wonder if I'm doing okay. I wonder if what I'm saying, how I'm dressed is appropriate. I get really caught up in my own thoughts about being, what they say, judged. But it's not even really like a judgment. It's more, I'm worried that they're going to find something disapproving about me. And that has existed in my life for a long time. And I've worked very, very hard to let go of that ridiculous habit that is formed. So tonight we want to go over confidence magic, okay? And we're doing this. Kat thought of a brilliant idea because I know you guys know we're Swifties and we have a lot of bead and bracelet making kits, okay? Like way too many. I make a lot of my own stone jewelry for bracelets. But then when this whole like friendship bracelet thing came out, we bought a lot more stuff and we make a lot of them.
I went crazy last year.
You did.
I did. I went crazy last year.
She has a lot of stuff.
All kinds of stuff. And we had a party.
We did. We had
a party here at my house, and we rented. This is when the Eras tour was. You could rent it for $20 for like 24 hours.
Yeah.
On Prime or something like that.
Yeah.
And so I had Jamie and then my daughter-in-law over, and we rearranged the living room, and we sat here watching the Eras tour movie and making friendship bracelets.
And it was a damn good time.
It was so fun.
Yeah,
it was really so fun.
So because we have all of that, it's a great collaboration to use the things that we already have on hand and to work the idea of our jewelry. Because jewelry for me has always been that. It always represents a mood or a need that I have. So when I select the rings and the bracelets that I'm wearing for the day, I assess my own energy before putting them on. You know, like what do I feel like I really need today when I go out? Am I going to put, tourmaline in my pocket? Am I going to put on my moonstone ring? Like, what is the feel? Is it going to be labradorite because I'm working magic? And we all have our own associations with the stones and what we like them for. But when we make our own jewelry, now you have jewelry that's intentional. So we are making intention bracelets. They're friendship too, I guess. You could do like a witch exchange for intention bracelets.
Sure. Listen, when I made all the bracelets, I started making ones that was like witch and
goddess
and things like that, because I thought about just taking them out with me and then interacting with people.
Didn't you give one away?
I don't know if I did. I can't remember now. But that was my intent when I made them, was to like make these witchy vibe bracelets and then go out in public with them and try to connect with people who
connect with other witches
and give them a bracelet that had like something witchy on it, maybe pagan. I got a stack of them in there. I probably made 15 or 20 different bracelets, but I don't know if I got out and did that or not. But anyway,
I remember her idea for it and going out in it, and I thought that she did. Also, I should probably address my voice. I was at the Chiefs game yesterday, and it was...
And Taylor Swift was there, yes.
And we went into overtime.
And she was stalking Taylor Swift.
Don't call me out. Why? Light stalking. It's very light stalking. I knew where she was sitting, and I would use my camera to zoom in and just see her and be like, oh my God, that's so cool. Because the last time I saw her in person was the concert last year. I got to go to the Eras Tour concert. So anyway... You made me forget what I was going to say. My voice.
Her voice is because she was yelling.
Sick. It's because I don't yell for 3 hours straight ever in my life. And this is what happens. You lose your voice from that. So hopefully it's not too bad. And I talk slow enough to where all the words come out fully. But I kind of have that, what is that when puberty thing that, the boys get where it's like, and they squeak and then a word doesn't come out.
It could kind of be the Lauren Bacall sexy, raspy thing going on, just depending. But
no, most people are like, "Are you sick?" That's not sexy. If it sounds like I'm sick, I'm not pulling off the sexy vibe. So, yeah. So tonight we are working confidence magic and we're making intention bracelets for that specific thing. And I think it's really relevant because at this time of the year, we have to get around a lot of people. There's a lot of social gatherings. There's a lot of us. Well, I should again speak for myself. There's a lot of me questioning, do I fit in here? How open do I want to be with everybody? I got to meet a couple of really amazing women. One I already knew, but I met one new woman on this Chiefs trip and she asked me what I did. And I got to say, I had a really hard time just being like, I'm a professional witch. I didn't know her well enough right at that moment to go, is that a word that's going to scare her? What ideas is she going to have about that? So I went right into...
It's the thing with witches, right? You really are like, is it safe for me to say to this person that I practice witchcraft, that I identify as a witch, that I am a witch, not that I identify as a witch, but that if you walked into my house,
I'm living the witch life.
If you walked into my house, you would definitely know I'm a witch. And would that scare you? Because for some people, it does.
Well, it could bring up a connotation that doesn't apply to me, but it's what they think. So when we express ourselves, because I think one of the reasons why we do have these habits where we're trying not to get judged by other people, where we sort of play the safe game, and it's hard to be our
authentic self.
Thank you. Our authentic self. We shut ourselves down. We make ourselves small. We don't want to compete. We want that social acceptance. And I was just faced with that this weekend. And so she could see my stall. She's like, what do you do? And I'm like, I am and she's just like, what the hell? Like, how do you not know what you do? And so then I said, I'm trying not to use the word witchcraft or witch because I don't really know what you think about that. But this is the line of work that I'm in. And the more that we talked about it, and then of course, where you can always get on people's level, no matter what they think, like zodiac signs. She's like, I'm a this, the guy I like is this. So there's that immediate connection to, oh, okay, I understand that some of witchcraft might be using zodiac signs to understand yourself more.
Astrology.
Yeah, the astrology stuff. So that and tarot
and
cards
and that's acceptable. That's like pretty acceptable in our society. If you say you if
you practice astrology,
you study astrology, you live your life by the planets and the stars, and
I don't think anybody says that far.
Whatever. Anyway, you know what I mean.
I only choose my men based on their sign and their rising.
That's an acceptable thing in our society.
It's very mainstream.
Tarot is not as frightening to people as witch. They know tarot. They're like, oh, fortune telling.
Yeah,
that's what a lot of people would think. A lot of people.
There's more curiosity in that than there is
fortune telling. And then what else? Maybe even numerology would be something that would be acceptable and didn't have the connotation that the word witch does because of history.
Yeah. Well, they don't know what kind of. Sometimes people ask, well, what kind of witch are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the other thing.
Now I have to go through the list of what I do and don't do in my own practice. So I don't want to say it's a sensitive subject, but this was one of the times where I thought, do I be my authentic self? Do I just
because she would do that if she was here in Florida, but she was in Kansas City, Midwest.
I'm around a lot of people I don't know.
Old hometown.
It's just, and I was like, are we going to hit this off? Are we going to be friends after this? Is it, how many more times am I going to see you? How much do I need to care what you think of me? Maybe, do I need to worry about her being totally scared off and wanting to leave the group? Like she could freak out and be like, I can't be around a witch. That's terrifying. I don't know. But
that's evil.
It's evil. Yeah. So we really wanted to talk about that confidence magic and how to stop giving a fuck about what other people think of us. And in the nicest way possible, it's really not about them and telling people to go fuck themselves, because we already did a live on that. This is more about owning your own thoughts and your self-talk so that you can present yourself as more confident, so that you break the pattern of the thoughts that come into our heads when we get around people that you are looking for that social acceptance to fit in, And I think the best way to start off the conversation is to talk about, where does it come from? Why do we have this thing anyways? Why is it a thing for us to want to be accepted? And I know
that's part of our biology.
Yeah.
It's actually because
the biological makeup.
And because when we were living in caves, it was critical that we were in groups. We really couldn't survive as a loner in our very primitive society early on. You needed the tribe of people. Everybody had the role that they played within the tribe, and you needed that group. The group was safe. It represented safety. It represented life. It represented longevity. It represented eating, not starving to death. Resources, shared all the things resources. That you had. So because of that, or I don't know because of that, but that's one of the driving. That's one of the things that's like,
it's biological.
It's coded into us to kind of conform or
seek approval.
To seek a group, to seek a group of people where we are accepted, where we connect with them, and where our values are the same. And so this was like tribe life, or if you've ever listened to the books, The Clan of the Cave Bear, is that what it's called?
I think so.
The Clan of the Cave.
Yeah.
Such a good series of books. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. But if you've never listened to them, they're on audiobooks and they're really good. So it's like way back when people were hunter-gatherers. They moved from place to place. They lived in tribes. You know, one guy had multiple wives and all these babies, and everybody was raised together. It truly was a village. But this is where biologically, I think, where this came from us and why it's so ingrained in us, because throughout history, we have needed groups for survival. We've needed acceptance from group. If you were outcast, your chances of survival, your life was much harder. Your life was much harder, and you were fending for yourself, and you didn't have the resources. The group pulled together. They hunted together. They made food together. They took care of each other. They took care of the children.
Like you said, everybody had a role.
Everyone had a role.
You know, you were useful.
So that's like a biological need that we have that's linked to our survival.
So I think of the other one, just because, you know, we've talked about generational traumas before, but getting that love from your family, you learn it early on that being accepted means you get love, or vice versa. Like, to be loved, you need to be accepted. They need to like you. And that builds a habit in us that we don't even realize is going on. As parents, we do it with our children. And then as we grow up, we continue to do that with teachers, with schools, acceptance, you know, just to see where we can fit in and want to conform to that so we can get there, because it's important to either ourselves or somebody else. And I think about that with, you know, like families saying, you can only be a doctor, you can only be a lawyer. Like, you got to conform to what the family wants you to be. But early on, we learn that when we do something good, we get praise for it. So we're looking for that external validation from other people to say, we're doing a good job, like we're on the right track. I find this in the witch community a lot too. We're seeking the approval of other witches that have been practicing longer, because we don't know. And it's not, sometimes I don't think it's approval. It's more like, is this the way it goes? I haven't been taught this before. But if you're in that relationship where you have somebody who's teaching you all the time witchcraft and like telling you what to do, you stop adventuring and like trying to figure out your own path. You're really just waiting for the answers to come in and like, okay, what's the next step? What's the next thing I do? Where do I go from here? So there's a part in our evolution when we're growing up and when we're going through our witchcraft practice and building that you have to stop looking outside of yourself for what to do. And it's got to start coming from within. And that is so hard if you've never been taught how to do that. If you've never learned to trust your own voice inside, to trust your own intuition, to trust your own ideas and build that confidence in yourself. Learning this early from like school, I think of, because I was bullied pretty bad for no reason, like literally no. I didn't.
Because you were nice.
I was nice. I was quiet.
Because you were quiet.
I was quiet.
So
and I wouldn't.
The ones that were the ones that are quiet and are the ones that are targeted a lot of times because they're seen as weak, you know, because they're not
a bully.
I
don't lash out back.
Well, yeah, they're like, they want to get along. And so,
that's me, Mrs. Get Along. Yeah. I used to call myself a people pleaser. And I never said it with like a bad tone when I was younger, but I realized how bad it was later, like later in my 20s. It was like people pleasing is a really terrible way to live because number one, if you're alone and you have nobody to please, how do you feel about yourself? Where is that validation coming from? If it's just you. And after I got out of the military, I was alone. I mean, I didn't have any friends or family around. I got, I was pregnant. I was having a son. Now I have to raise a human. I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Who do I look to tell me that I'm doing an okay job, that like, you're a good mom? I felt like I needed to hear that from somebody. And I don't even know if it was somebody that I respected or that I would have looked up to, but just hearing it in general, it could have been from a stranger, would have felt really good to me back then because
it would
I
have validated that you're doing it right.
Yeah.
You're doing it right. Hey, whatever your challenges are with raising a child by yourself, being a single mom and navigating all of that, and then the dad gone and all the things that women have to deal with. To have somebody confirm for you that, hey, you're a great mom, because they see you interact with your kid. That validation, we need that.
Yeah, but that's the crazy thing is nobody truly knows if you're doing a good job. They saw you do one good act.
No, but I still think though that it's, I think it's good for us to reassure people, even in our daily lives when we're past the mother stage now. I'm a grandmother. You're a mom of an adult.
My kid's going to be 19.
You're a mom of an adult. So the mothering period is over, but you still, as your kids get out into the world, you want to know that I feel like we always have these self-doubts. Like, was I good enough? Did I do a right job?
Oh yeah.
All that, we're always, especially as women, because most of the responsibility of the child rearing is left to us. At least that was my generation. I don't know about.
It was your experience.
It was my experience. It was my generation. And hopefully that's changing where there's more of this shared, of raising a child. But if a separation happens and you and your, the mother and the father go separate ways, then the mother is typically the one that is left with the child. So it's almost like it's a daily struggle just to get through all the things that you got to do as a mom, from the time you wake up in the morning till the time you go to bed at night. You're working, you're caring for a child, you're trying to do the best you can, and you're doing these dual roles. So to hear from somebody if you're out with your kid, I just read something, there was somebody's like, I was in the grocery store line and I thought my kid was misbehaving, but somebody said to me, you're a really good mom. Your kid's really well behaved, even though the kid was just doing kid stuff. It wasn't like crazy tantrum stuff. And the person that wrote this was like, that really made me feel, that really hit me because it validated what I was doing. And it made me feel like, even though I'm looking at myself saying I could do better, or this is not ideal, you got this picture in your mind.
You're critical of yourself.
You're very critical. And you've got this picture of your mind of how you're supposed to be. Yeah, how you're supposed to be.
It's Mayberry. That's what I go back to. And I didn't even grow up with that show, but
to have a stranger say to you, you're a good mom, you're doing a good job, even though you might be struggling at the moment with your kid, that feels good. And I just think that's human nature. Now, one of the downsides of needing that validation, and we do, I think it's human nature that we need it.
For some time, we don't always need it.
One of the downsides of that is that, we're relying on other people. And so we need to look, and I think that's what this whole live is about. Yeah. It's about your gaining that self-confidence so that you can feel more sure of yourself. And we won't always feel 100% sure of ourselves.
No.
We will always have doubts. At different times it will be, sometimes we'll feel a lot more confident and other times we'll feel a little less confident. But there's things that we can do as witches. We can use things like Jamie was saying, picking your jewelry. Yeah. We can use color magic. We can use sigils. We can write things. We don't even have to use sigils. We can write words on our body that make us feel, that make us feel more powerful in whatever we're going through.
Yeah. So when we are looking externally for the validation, for the proof that we're doing a good job, for the proof that we matter, this will lead to the anxiety and the chronic stress that we have when the approval isn't granted. I think this is where it really messes us up. Because when you're around people who love you and will tell you you're doing a good job, sometimes when you're not, or that you're just loved, right? Because you're getting the validation, so you feel accepted and loved. And when you're around people who just love you for who you are and you're not doing a great job, they're still going to be like, you're fine, you're doing the best you can. And that's still really good. But when we're used to that, and then we get around people who don't give us that, who don't have the nice things to say, who aren't encouraging, who aren't supportive, that's when it starts to fuck with us. That's when it becomes a detriment, because now if you didn't build it in yourself and it's been external this whole time, now how do we figure out where our confidence comes from, where our identity, even? I guess that's what I think of when I think of your confidence. It's being comfortable with your identity, being comfortable with who you are, who you choose to be, which that's going to be a word we're going to bring up in a second. Let's go over what we're doing, because I just started making, because I figured we needed to get going.
I started too, and that's I can't see bracelet. The holes in my little beads. So I'm challenged here because it's dark. And so I'm like, where's the hole? It's not my job to find it. Okay. Oh. So number one, first of all, so I'm like, okay, do I need to bring a brighter light over here? But what we've done, if you've ever done beads, so we've got these little trays where you can like
wherever you tip it over, they all come spilling out. Yes.
Where you can line everything up and the way that you want it. And then you start using something like this. I don't know if you guys can see this. It's I forget what it's this like really thin needle that helps you like thread the whole thing together. What's it called?
Elastic stretch cord needles. Okay. That is not helpful.
That's not really helpful, but they are really good for threading, so you can like get all of your beads onto your needle, and then you're able to run your string through it. So that's what we're doing.
Yes. So I want to explain my first bracelet, and probably one of the biggest things I use in my practice is color magic. Definitely, because all colors have an energy about them. And I use that color magic that also aligns with the chakras. So when we talk about confidence, your solar plexus, which is, just here, like your sternum area above your navel and below your breastplate where, your heart would be, right here is where confidence is held in the body as an energy center. And the color for that is yellow. The one below it is the creative center. It's the sacral chakra. So when I think of being authentic, I think of that confidence of being able to create independently of anybody else. And then the lowest chakra, which is more about security and survival, is red. So when I think about confidence, I'm thinking about the physical, earthly aspects of my energetic self, which is going to be that yellow, orange, and red. When we get into our spiritual selves, now you're looking towards green for your heart chakra, blue for your throat chakra to speak your truth. So for this particular, these intention bracelets, the colors I chose, which are not my colors and are not going to match anything in my wardrobe right now, but I got to wear them because I got to practice that, It's going to be the oranges, the earthy tones, gold. Gold also represents the sun energy, like Leo energy is also part of that solar plexus. So if you like gold jewelry, you're already into the sun energy. If you like a lot of silver or white metals, you're into the moon energy. This is more of the empath and I hate to say wishy-washy, but the dreamer, this is more like you're turned inward rather than outward. And I know that about myself. I wear mostly silver jewelry. It aligns with who I am. Every once in a while, I get frisky and I'll put on gold and I'll wear gold for a couple of days, but that goes away because like my true nature is just to be that calm, intuitive person that doesn't need to be outwardly expressive, except when I get on YouTube or the podcast. I guess it's becoming my job now to kind of be out in front of people. And I'm trying to manifest a TED Talk, y'all. That is one of the things that I'm working on for next year, a spiritual TED Talk. So with building this could be confidence around, did you hear me just knock that into that? Uh-huh. This could be confidence around public speaking. This could be confidence around body image. The confidence that you want to build can be anything. So choosing a stone that aligns with that for you is good. But I've got citrine stone in the middle, and then this orange stone, I don't remember how to pronounce it, but it's the right colors for me. And then I've got gold beads that go with it. And I've also used numerology in this. If you're looking for numbers that correspond with things that represent confidence or being an individual, being authentically yourself, the number 1, of course, the individual, and that's leadership and confidence. But then the number 8, which is also about success, abundance, the identity of who you are, what you want to build. It's the CEO mindset, the number 8. So inside of here, I've put together, there's 2 pairs of 2s because I'm a water sign, so I need the connection. I've got some individual 1s in the gold beads, and then these at the end are 8 beads together. And then I'll probably have to put something else because I think it's too short. This looks like it's made for a baby's wrist. So we've done a lot of these bracelets, but we haven't learned how to measure them correctly to know if you made a bracelet big or small.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It's
Even
like,
though this thing has
definitely
like
need more.
inches on it, but figuring it out
No,
is just trial and error. You'll end up with,
for us.
when you're just starting out, you'll end up with things that are too small or too big.
And also the holes of your beads matter with your string.
Yeah, for sure.
You gotta learn that.
So for mine, I use tiger's eye gold, and then I use words warrior queen. I spelled that out with because I wanted something. I was like fierce queen.
Yeah.
I like warrior queen. I like the way that sounds. I was like, yeah,
I love that.
And so I've got tiger's eye and gold. And again, for the same reason with the gold, because of the sun,
the confidence.
Leo, the confidence, you know, so the sun is associated with Leo. Leo is the sign of like, the lion, the confident, the like super confident one. Your Leos are the ones that go into show business and they're all out there, feeling all like
they're performers. They're on the stage.
They're feeling themselves. They're all in their, they're like, I'm the shit, right?
Awesome.
I'm the shit. So that's what I'm doing. And I don't have any idea how this is going to work out because I didn't measure it. I don't really. I'll end up I might end up doing it over again, but
I think I got mine. I just had to put 4 tiger's eye beads on here, and these are just from regular craft stores. The beads are. I have a few a lot of my beads are like blues and purples and all the colors
that's her colors.
are about the higher self, not being here and being confident on earth. So I put together 4 to make the bottom of that. So the tiger's eye will sit on the inner part of my wrist, and then the citrine will sit on the outer part, which is just a sunstone. That's why I chose citrine. But now, once you get it long enough, hopefully, you tie it together, and then we have this awesome glue called E6000, which will glue anything to anything. And once you tie a knot, like once or twice, it doesn't really have to be a big deal because this E6000 really does a good job of securing the knot and making sure that it will not come apart. What will happen over time, because I've learned this because I've made a lot of my own stone bracelets, the elastic stuff wears out and it will break eventually. It will.
You can kind of tell as they start to get really stretchy. So my son made this one for me. My son made me two bracelets for Mother's Day. One has all the kids' years of birth. So 77, 81, and 86. That's this one.
I love that.
And then this one here has, is like my thing. So it's like established 1977. That was the year I became a mother. And then he also did the thing with he put 1 stone and 2 stones. It was so like boy, 2 girls, boy, 2 girls. So that was the pattern of this. But this one, especially this green one, I really love. They put a little heart on it. So I just love this. It's kind of big, but it's also it's stretching out, and I don't want it to break. So I've already been thinking about asking him to redo it with wire with the little clips on it, because the wire is more, it's going to last longer with wire. But when you're first starting out, it's super easy to buy this,
elastic
crystal
cord.
string cord that's stretchy. It's so easy to put the whole thing. If you can find where it starts, that's really good. It's I can't see, so
don't break, 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 don't break. I still didn't get it quite right. I have gaps.
I need to use yours because I can't see mine. It's dark.
And it depends on how you like your bracelets. If you like them tighter or loose. Again, I made this one pretty small. I don't know why. probably because I'm working in colors I'm not comfortable with. But that's just the first one. Super easy to do. And then as an example for using the jewelry as your intention magic of like confidence, or you could do it for
like
whatever
a
you want.
baby's bracelet there.
Okay, I might have to redo it. Thank you. I didn't have any other ideas I would have had to put like 8 more gold things on there, and then I think it would have been too big. But the way that you could make a ritual when you put this on of like naming the thing that you need from it. When I put certain stones on, like that's what I'm looking for. I'm like, help me be intuitive today. Help me be more magic focused today. When I wear the amethyst, it's like, help me be more in tune with myself, with my inner voice. When I think about it, I just hold it in my hand and think the energy into the stones, the bracelet, the idea of it, why I'm wearing it, to give it purpose. And that's like, it doesn't have to be a big elaborate thing. I keep a lot of my jewelry with other stones so that when I set them down, it's like it cleanses them. They just all sit together, But that would be the first one. How far are you?
I've got mine strung, so
I love your words. The only one I did over here,
mine's a little bit bigger, but I
courage.
probably want it to be. So you only have, with this. Oops, I missed a piece. So now, now that I got everything off this guy, if I want more, I'm going to probably have to string it manually, which is okay because it's pretty close for me for what I need. So this is the size.
Do you like yours bigger or smaller?
I like mine looser.
Yeah.
I like mine a little bit looser. But that's mine so far, but I'm going to add a few more beads to it. So let's move on to the next thing about, it's not just about shifting our thoughts. It's not just about shifting our thoughts. It's about, shifting our habits, or rather, we got to shift our thoughts.
Shifting the thoughts, not just habits.
Okay. So
this is an inner dialogue problem. It's an inner dialogue problem that we address. Yeah. And the reason that it's probably been bigger for me during my life is because I am in my head a lot. Like I am more active up here in my energy centers.
I'm in my head all the time.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's all water signs, or maybe it's because my mom raised me and she's in her head all the time. So I just learned to be that way.
I'm so in my head all the time. It's really.
But being in your head is why these colors and the stones that you pick, this is all to ground you. When you're in your head too much, you're way up here, you need things that bring you back and ground you. And the best way to do that is through your thoughts first, changing just the little things that we say or think about. And you can start to recognize what you say in your head by standing in a mirror and then listening to what comes up, like, oh, my love handles are sticking over my jeans, or God, I hate that mole on my cheek, or some other thing that we say about ourselves, where when you look at yourselves, there are parts that are pleasing to you, and then there are parts that you don't like, or maybe you avoid a mirror altogether, or maybe you wear really big baggy clothes because like that makes you feel more protected and safe. I wear black pretty much all the time because that's my color for protection and safety. It makes me feel it makes me feel invisible if I want to be. And then also I stand out. I know I stand out. It's Florida. Wearing all black is that's not the color people wear here. So I know that it can go either way. But when we want to hear what's going on in our head, looking at the mirror is, a good way to start. I hate mentioning journaling because we mention it all the time, but writing things down, writing your thoughts down. What are your insecurities?
Affirmations, though, when
you
look in the mirror, you can say,
it's a way to fix
come up with your affirmations. Write your affirmations so that you can start to believe, and repeating those to yourself while you look in the mirror. Warrior queen. I'm a warrior queen. I'm a warrior queen, or whatever it is for you that resonates with you, that energy that you're trying to bring in. You can do that through this repetitive, mantra affirmation, look in the mirror thing, where you spend some time, 30 seconds, 1 minute, whatever it is.
Do what you can.
Just a regular,
make it a ritual for yourself.
I've got something on my bathroom mirror so that every time I go in there, I recite what's on that mirror. It's the thing that I'm trying to manifest. And it's a place where, because I know I'm going to go to the bathroom about 20 times a day. So I put it on the mirror in the bathroom so that when I'm in there, I'll remember to say it, because otherwise if I put it somewhere else, like where am I going to see that? That's a constant reminder where I stop for a second.
Yeah.
So that's why I use the bathroom mirror for that. And it works. So affirmations.
Well, I know that when I'm getting ready for social situations, instead of going to the place of, well, number one, here's something that I do that's really bad, but I still do it. And my husband knows it because he's like, it's your favorite time of the day. You got to get dressed. I was like, I fucking hate getting dressed. I hate putting on clothes. I hate picking out outfits. I don't enjoy it at all. Getting dressed is the worst part of my day. And I don't know why. Like, if I just wore a swimsuit every day, I'd be totally fine because I do that when I'm gardening. Like, I just throw on a swimsuit and then I go out there and I'm comfortable. But it's like, I just don't always feel comfortable in clothes, or I want more from them. Like, they don't necessarily show who I am. So when I look in the mirror, I'm like, who the fuck dressed this girl? Like, that's not what she looks like internally. So I don't like getting dressed. And that makes social situations harder because then I'm like, what's everybody else going to be wearing? Am I going to clash with everyone? And, am I going to stand out? Because I don't want to stand out. So what I do instead now, my way that I've changed that, I still say I hate getting dressed, but what I changed for the social situation part, where I get that anxiety a little bit about, am I going to be dressed right? I guess. I don't know. Am I going to look cool? Am I going to fit in? Am I going to look like I belong in this crowd? Like, who fucking knows?
We need to fit in, right? Because that's in our DNA. That was part of, like, we needed that to survive.
Okay.
So
perfect example is the Chiefs trip.
Yeah.
I needed to buy red because everybody's going to be in red.
She doesn't wear red.
And I don't have red.
She doesn't own red.
I had to literally buy outfits for this trip so that I wasn't wearing some hot pink shirt or something. People were like, who bought the fucking poser over here, So I wanted to fit in with the crowd in showing off the colors for the Chiefs. And I was like, it's finally time. I'm buying some actual red Chiefs gear because I have pink Chiefs gear, but I don't have red. So I lost my train of thought.
So she dressed specifically out of her comfort zone. She had to buy red to fit in.
I know. It's the changing my head of like, will I fit in? Because, the Chiefs trip, so that's one type of clothing. I hang out with my husband's friends, and a lot of them are like, I don't want to say expert fishermen, but they're all fishermen. So they wear fisherman type clothes. They have all these different brands that really go together. And so again, I don't fit in anywhere. I fit in with witches. Okay. If we were having witch gatherings all the time, yes, I fit in with that. That's how I dress to fit in. So instead of thinking of, will I stand out, and stop being my authentic self and try to fit in, I say, I'm going to dress as me, like however I'm comfortable for that day. And then instead of worrying about what other people think of me, I say to myself, I wonder who I'll meet and what I'll learn. So this changes the focus of like how people are going to feel about me. And it makes me think like, oh, who might I run into today? What might I learn from them? There's all these people out there learning different shit that I don't ever look up. And it's like, oh, interesting, useless knowledge facts. So by switching that conversation in my head, worrying about that I'll fit in, and rather thinking about, I hope I have a conversation with some individuals that talk about cool stuff, I feel so much better about it. I'm like, oh, I could go to this. I could talk. We could chit chat about things. I have a lot of useless knowledge, but that's my own process for changing. Will I fit in? Unless I actually want to fit in, like buying red. Because I did. I wanted to be like part of the clan.
Yeah. Well, it's like going to a Taylor Swift concert and not dressing up in a Taylor Swift outfit, not dressing in one of the arrows or having sparkles or something like that. If you didn't do, I didn't get to go. I'm so bummed. It's almost over. The whole Aerosaur thing is almost over. I never got to go. I'm so sad. But, I would have had a hard time with the outfits because, I would have a hard time with that because I don't dress like that with all the sparklies and,
exactly.
like the whole, all that stuff. It would have been very foreign to me. So maybe it's a good thing I didn't go because I would have felt really out of place with everybody else decked out in their Taylor Swift garb, from whatever era, or all the eras or whatever. Yeah. So cool. I love seeing all the other people, but for me, it would have felt inauthentic because that's not how, just like with you, wearing red, it's like that's not, I don't sparkle, you know,
Yeah,
I don't wear
sparkle.
sparkly clothes. I don't do all this. I don't do all this stuff. I don't wear, short dresses or,
Yeah.
whatever.
We don't dress like Taylor Swift in our day-to-day
No,
life. No. So there's part of this where the authenticity comes from what you believe in yourself and just being comfortable being different in a room. If you know you're going to go to an event and not dress up, like that's one part of it. But what we're really talking about is just the everyday thing, having to go into work, go into public, how you feel about yourself. And then the reason that I thought that this one was timely is because when we get around our family, who is like, there's always the black sheep of the family that's like, okay, no matter what I do, I'm a fuck up and everybody's going to be like, oh, what'd you do now? What are you into? Thinking that you're going to have a bad story. So there's already these ideas that people have of you, and it's very hard to change that. And so we can be worried about what our family thinks of us. Like, what are they thinking sitting across the room? There's my cousin. Does she think I'm still, 19 and fucking off in the bars all the time? Like, it kind of questions it makes you judge. No, it makes you wonder if they're judging your integrity and questioning how you live your life. Like, it can get that deep when we're around people who know us and we've changed, but they don't know we've changed. It's like, how do you find confidence in yourself to be in that room again and be like, yeah, listen, you knew the old me, so can you stop fucking telling that story from when I was 19? Like, I'm 44 now. That's not me anymore. Believe it or not,
I hate
that.
Those are fucking family reunions when that shit happens. You're like,
I'm telling you,
dude,
the same
really?
stories.
Are you talking about 1977? You do realize it's like 2025, right?
Yeah. But that's where we get in our heads and we start this pattern of involving ourselves in believing that we might know what people think of us, or we're worried about what people think of us. And that can bring our energy down so low, like, I love this thing that James Van Pearl used to say all the time, like, what somebody thinks of you is none of your business, because he's a psychic medium. And so in order for him to stay connected and funnel, he's like, I can't worry about what people think of me. If I use that energy over there, I can't do this thing over here. I think of that as the same thing as confidence. If we're worried about what people think of us over here, we're not feeding ourselves that confidence energy. That's all, like, that's just gone. It's not there. There's no space for it because our energy is consumed with this other thing.
And this is where we are shifting to our own approval, to realizing that our own approval is enough. And somebody asked, Tracy asked, wouldn't you be showing your authentic self by wearing what you are? Yes, you would.
I guess the reason that I made a difference in like a sporting event is because that was authentically me. I'm uncomfortable in red though, and I don't own it. But I was my authentic self while I was there. I just wanted to dress with everybody else. I guess it's like what we were saying with, if you go out on Halloween, you're going to wear a costume because that's the event. That's kind of what the event calls for. So I guess because I was talking about that because I don't like dressing myself and it's very difficult. And then I don't like going out and wondering, like, do I fit in here? That was the old me. Like when I was in college and I was vice president of the veterans student group, I knew that people were looking to me for things. So I felt like I had to dress really professional because I worried about what everybody thought of me and I wanted them to take me seriously. And so my behavior then became that. And I was always looking for the approval that, yes, I'm dressed nice. Yes, I'm dressed professional. Like, yes, people would refer me for a job because they saw me like this.
So if only we could stay home in our little houses and in our bathing suits, working in our yard or wearing our, pajama pants or whatever it is.
Seriously.
And not ever have to deal with the world and just stay in
Can I just be a cottage witch where people come and see me for spells and crystals and fortune telling? Like, can I just do that?
Order your food delivered to you?
No, you grow your own food.
Grow your own food or have it delivered or whatever and never go and see anybody.
Yeah, like you only have to associate with your own crowd.
You don't have to ever interact in social situations, but sometimes you do. Yeah. So what can we do to be able to, have confidence? And some of the things we can use are grounding rituals. I have the habit too of when I'm going to go out into public, I'm changing my clothes like 5 times and I'm like, I don't like the way that looks. And then I'm like super self-conscious. I'm like, why do I even fucking care? Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
But it's part of, I don't know, the process or whatever, but some of the things that we can do is before we go out is do a quick ritual. We can, let's see, mindful communication, practice is speaking in I statements to reaffirm. So I believe, I feel.
Yeah, make it about you in a conversation. Like, instead of trying to go along and agree with everybody, I think that when we say I statements, like I believe this, I think this, I would do this, I've done this, when you talk about yourself, you're reinforcing that you know who you are, and that feels authentic, like, because you're speaking from your own point of view and you're not just agreeing with the table.
So the other thing that we can do is we can use like visualization to envision this outcome of us being like super self. I have to like hype myself up when I'm going to go, because I'm single. So if I'm going to go out into a social setting where there's
Potentials,
a whole bunch of people and potentials and stuff like that, I kind of have to like psych myself up. And I guess I use this like self-talk when I'm like, sort of get my back really straight and, like I'm the shit, just like and so I have to sort of go into that situation with that belief in myself that I'm awesome, that I look great, that I'm fun and all of these things. But we can also envision what that looks like in social settings. We can visualize our interactions. We can picture ourselves handling, interacting with people or handling those feedback, the interactions with people, and without all the turmoil and stuff that goes along with it. So we talked about affirmations, mantras, visualization. What else? Oh, of course. And we're making jewelry. So you can, I find that for me anyway, if I need something like reassurance. So for me, a piece of jewelry that I'm wearing is something that I can touch, and it's like a talisman, so I can touch it to remind myself if I'm in a situation where I'm really feeling stressed right now. So if I have a piece of jewelry on, I'll touch it, I'll rub it, I'll remind myself, that I'm okay, that this, that I've got whatever.
Well, that's why putting the words on there could be so awesome, right? Like, then you read that and you're like, fuck yeah, I'm an awesome warrior,
fucking warrior
queen.
Yeah, I did warrior queen. So that's my bracelet.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm just doing one that says courage, and it's gold and pink.
I love that. It's very pretty. She always does the prettiest things.
Oh.
So, and we have a book for you.
Or two. Do you have the other one?
Or two. I have
these
a book
books
for you.
are so fun.
So this book is called Zen as Fuck.
Yeah. Zen as Fuck. They're like $10.
Zen as Fuck, a journal for practicing the mindful art of not giving a shit.
That's right.
Because really, why do we stress out about what other people think of us?
Really,
we spend a lot of time and energy on that. And then in the end, what happens? If you like have all these self-doubts and you're going to go out with your girlfriends because you haven't been out in a long time, and you're like, oh, I've been divorced 5 years, I guess I might as well get out in the real world, right? And then you go out with your girlfriends, but you're like totally freaked out about it. I've been there, I've done this, I know what I'm talking about. And then you come home at the end of the night, when you finally get back home and you reflect on it, you're like, what was I so freaked out about? I mean, the whole night just when we went out, we had drinks, I talked to some people, like nothing really scary happened. But we can work that shit up in our mind. You know, we can hype ourselves up.
Being rejected is scary.
We can hype ourselves up to be fearful of going out, and then we stay home. Done that too.
And then we never meet anybody, and we stay in our pajama clothes, and life is, not that fun.
So the other book is Let That Shit Go.
Okay, explain what the books are, though.
Okay, so, I said Zen as Fuck.
Yeah, but inside there, did you say what was inside?
I said it was a journal. I didn't go into what was inside of it.
It's not really a journal. It has, so number one, it cusses, and that's hilarious.
We love that.
I love it.
It's right up our alley.
They just have different prompt pages, and you don't just go through the book like page 1, page 2, page 3. I used to just what I've done with mine is I flip it open and I'm like, that's what I'm doing today. This is what's happening. But just opening this book up, you guys, you know what it says? Dreams are for dick bags. What a dick bag is, I'm not exactly sure. But it says, don't get stuck in your dream state. Dreams are the heart and soul of any new idea and new adventure or a bridge that you haven't crossed, but they're also completely fucking useless if you don't do anything with them. So it's sort of motivational and also snaps you back into reality of like, get out of your head. That's what all this is screaming is get out of your head, right?
Okay. So this one is called Let That Shit Go, a journal for leaving your bullshit behind and creating a happy life. So when I open it up, what I come
What's your
to
page?
is my page says a spoonful of shut the fuck up helps the medicine go down.
I mean,
I don't know
towards
what that-
who?
yeah,
For
I don't-
ourselves?
I mean,
For
I
somebody
don't
else?
know. I don't. It's just what
I
I
love
open
that.
to. It's just little sayings. So, you do get prompts like take a load off, carrying the extra weight of the rocky parts of your past, make trudging forward feel like an existential CrossFit class that you wish you'd never signed up for. What kinds of stones are you carrying? So then you got a little place to like write that down. So it's like reflection.
Definitely reflections. It helps you. Remember what I was talking about with the mirror? Like stand in front of the mirror and see what comes up for you. That's what these will do as well. They're prompts to get you thinking about, ooh, how do I deal with that situation? What does come up in my head for that? Because without a therapist asking you a million questions and having to spend a lot of money on a therapist, who else are we going to turn to? Like the answers are in us. I don't know if anybody's done therapy yet, but therapists do not have the answers for you. They just help you talk through it until you figure out your own answer. Books like this do
they just
the
listen.
same thing.
All they do is listen.
They hold space for you. That's what they do. They hold space for you at a pretty high cost.
They listen to you cry and whatever. When I
anything. They offer suggestions, but
I don't remember that. I remember when I first broke up with X, and I was like, just I really thought I was going to lose it. I really felt like I was going to lose my shit, and I went to see a therapist, and all I did was vent, for the whole time, and she sat there and just listened to me and like let me get it all out, which I needed. I need somebody I didn't need anybody to try to advise me. I really just needed to get all the feelings that I was having out and get all the crying out of it that I needed to get through.
Cathartic release.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's what those
these little books,
do.
so these little journaling books where you find them like this can help you do that if you're going through some shit.
And they got to be funny. So the author's name is Monica Sweeney, SWEE.
And she's the author of both books, right?
NEY. Yeah. She's the author of both. And she's funny. And this says this book was $15 in the US, but I think it was more like 10. I'm pretty sure I got it for 10.
Okay.
But just those are things that become helpful when we turn our habits not just outward, but it's the habits that we have in our head that nobody else hears and nobody else can help you with unless you admit them, unless you get them out in the open. That's where the healing and the change can really happen, is when you start to get the shit out of your head that's been going on, get it down on paper, tell it to somebody, talk about it, whatever it is. But you've got to start sorting through it so that you can then replace that with healthier habits, whether that's healthier self-talk, healthier actual physical habits that result from that. But it's getting out of our head.
Yeah.
That's how we reclaim our power anyways. This whole fall series was all about, I really wanted to hype up us as women, reclaim our power and all of the bullshit that's kind of been thrown on us. And then we just sit with it and we're like, well, I guess this is the way life is, but it doesn't have to
be.
And
hopefully we're doing that tonight. Yeah. As a nation. Yeah. Women.
Yeah. We are saying nothing political, nothing at all.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. But it's getting it out there so that it can be reviewed and reflected on. And then you can decide what to change, how to change it, and when to change it. And I think I wrote a really nice line. Stand strong in your own truth. You are living your life, not anybody else. Live it your way. I like that.
Linda,
I want to put it on my
Linda, I'm a Scorpio and my birthday's Friday. So Linda said something about, I don't know the date, but I know Cat's a Scorpio. I am. And Friday is my birthday, 8/11/8.
8/11/8.
11/8.
Yeah, it was like 8/11/8 is what?
No, 11/8.
11/8.
11, 8, 58.
You got a lot of 8s in there. That means you've got the command and control.
Yeah. All right, guys. I think that wraps it up for this week.
Yeah, we hope you found it really helpful, and we hope that you continually grow in your spiritual self, in your witch self, and that you start reclaiming some of the power that's been lost because we didn't know any better. And we just, shit was happening and we dealt with it and then we held it all inside and now we got all this shit floating around our head and that needs to change,
And, feel free to reach out. Like if you have an idea for something you'd like us to talk about on this subject or any other subject that you'd like to hear about,
open to suggestions. We're always love to know what you guys are thinking on things as well.
We'd love to know where you're at and what you might like to hear about. So
I love Tracy said color magic helped her so much today. That's every day for me, Tracy. I so feel that. Yes.
Color magic is powerful.
Everything. I think it goes into all areas of witchcraft too. Even when you look at the tarot cards, the colors that are within them, like it's everywhere.
So Linda's the 17th.
My son is the 18th.
Yep.
He's turning 19. So last year he had his, what's it called? The golden birthday or something where it's like you're 18 on the 18th or something like that.
I don't know.
Anyway, it's a new thing. I didn't have that when I was 22 because my birthday is February 22nd. So I realized it too late. It was like 20 years later. They're like, there's a golden birthday. I was like, I fucking missed it.
I never heard of that.
No.
I never heard of a golden birthday.
We love you guys so much.
Love you guys.
Thank you for being here with us tonight and do some jewelry that has some intention behind it so that you can go out into your world and be more confident in yourself. And we will see you next week. All right. Bye.
Bye, witches.